bloggers are already circulating names of career attorneys in the department who they say should be demoted or reassigned because of positions they argued under Attorneys General Holder and Lynch. One commentator for the Heritage Foundation has made the comparison to filth within the Department of Justice and suggested that, like the Aegean stables, you need to run rivers through the department and wash out the agency from top to bottom. And you yourself have criticized department attorneys for being secular. Now, that was as recently as November. Now, in Rhode Island, we have a long tradition, back to Roger Williams, of separating church and state. And as an attorney general and as a U.S. attorney, we also have a tradition of allowing career attorneys to follow the policy dictates of other administrations and not holding the career people responsible for that. I'm wondering how you react to this. Do you have a problem with career attorneys if their private religious beliefs are secular ones? And will you support the career attorneys against the pressure from these right-wing organizations seeking to wash them out like filth, to paraphrase the Heritage Foundation?
The Department of Justice is composed primarily of career professionals. As you know, Senator Whitehouse, you served there ably as United States Attorney, and I give them the highest respect. Most of those attorneys reach high standards, and they are willing to follow lawful orders and directions from their superiors, even if they might have a different philosophy. I do think it's often they're put into non-career spots and can go back to career spots, but I don't know how exactly that works. But so you would normally expect, and I'm sure the Obama administration made changes in the leadership of the department. They put career people in positions that they thought would be most advantageous for them to advance the causes they believed in. And that's sort of within the rules of the game. But to target people and to in any way demean them if they were fine public servants and they were following the law and carrying out a legitimate policy of their supervisors would be wrong, and I think you should respect them. I would do that.
Does a secular attorney have anything to fear from an Attorney General Sessions in the Department of Justice?
Well, no, and I use that word in the 90,000-foot level of a little concern I have that we as a nation, I believe, are reaching a level in which truth is not sufficiently respected, that the very ideal, the idea of truth is not believed to be real, and that all of life is just a matter of your perspective and my perspective, which I think is contrary to the American heritage. So that's just a kind of a criticism of mine. But we are not a theocracy. Nobody should be required to believe anything. I share Thomas Jefferson's words on the memorial over here. I swear eternal hostility over any domination of the mind of man. And I think we should respect people's views and not demand any kind of religious test for holding office.
And a secular person has just as good a claim to understanding the truth as a person who is religious, correct?
Well, I'm not sure. In what method? Is it less objectively committed to...
the methods that an attorney would bring to bear.
Well, let me just say, we're going to treat anybody with different views fairly and objectively. And the ideal of truth and trying to achieve the right solution, to me, is an important goal of the American jurisprudential system, actually our legislative system. What is the right thing? What is true? And let's act on it and do the right thing. That's all
on the subject of what is truth, you may...
It's an age-old question.
You may be in a position as Attorney General to either enforce laws or bring actions that relate to the problem of carbon emissions and the changes that are taking place both physically and chemically in our atmosphere and oceans as a result of the flood of carbon emissions that we've had. It is the political position of the Republican Party in the Senate, as I have seen it, that this is not a problem, that we don't need to do anything about it, that the facts aren't real, and that we should all do nothing whatsoever. That's the Senate. You, as Attorney General of the United States, may be asked to make decisions for our nation that require a factual predicate that you determine as the basis for making your decision. In making a decision about the facts of climate change, to whom will you turn? Will you, for instance, trust the military, all of whose branches agree that climate change is a serious problem of real import for them? Will you trust our national laboratories, all of whom say the same? Will you trust our national science agencies? By the way, NASA is driving a rover around on the surface of Mars right now. So their scientists, I think, are pretty good. I don't think there is a single scientific society. I don't think there's a single accredited university. I don't think there's a single nation that denies this basic set of facts. And so if that situation is presented to you and you have to make a decision based on the facts, what can give us any assurance that you will make those facts based on real facts and real science?
That's a good and fair question, and honesty and integrity in that process is required. And if the facts justify a position on one side or the other on a case, I would try to utilize those facts in an honest and appropriate way. I don't deny that we have global warming. In fact, the theory of it always struck me as plausible. And it's the question of how much is happening and what the reaction would be to it. So that's what I would hope we could see occur.
Indeed, I'll bet you dollars against those lovely Krispy Kreme donuts that we have out back that if you went down to the University of Alabama and if you talked to the people who fish out of Mobile, they'd already see the changes in the ocean. They'd be able to measure the pH changes, and they'd know that acidification is happening and that there's no actual dispute about that except in the politics of Washington, D.C.
Well, I recognize the great interest and time and you've committed to the issue, and I value your opinion.
I do come from an ocean state, and we do measure the rise in the sea level, and we measure the warming of Narragansett Bay, and we measure the change in pH. It's serious for us, Senator. Thank you. My time has expired.